Before Islam crossed the Sahara into sub-Saharan Africa, we ask ourselves what were the religious traditions and customs of the African people, the black Africans. There were three main religious traditions that were followed by the African people. The first one was the African traditional customs and religions. It differed from tribe to tribe and region to region in the African continent, but had main similarities. The second was the Orthodox Ethiopian church and a tiny amount of Judaism that was carried from across the Sinai into the African continent. According to MuslimPopulation.com, the continent of Africa has the highest Muslim population percentage in the world today. As of 2019, the population of Muslims on the African continent was 2.25 billion. How did this continent Islamize? The African people have always been a religious people. At that time, 14 centuries ago, when most of the Middle East and North Africa were caught in the geopolitical competition between the Roman Empire and the Persian Empire, most of the African kingdoms and tribes were living peacefully, practicing their religions and their customs. Subscribe on our Tarihi channel for more interesting and educative videos on African history. The traditional African religion has existed in Africa for millennia. In the traditional African religion, the community becomes the most important part of a person's life. The community is made up of people who remember and share the same traditions. The individual exists within the community and has to abide by the community's rules and regulations, and this includes even the monarch or the king who dwells within the community. This is very important for the legitimacy of the king and his kingdom. Without the following of the traditional rules, a king can lose his kingdom and the legitimacy of his kingdom. The African religion recognizes the presence of the Creator, the God Lord, who is considered to be all-powerful and not in contact with our world, and is in consort of spirits who intercede between normal human beings and the Creator. Over the millennia, the Creator is given several names in different parts of Africa. Names like Imana, the Creator of everything; Zambi, the Creator and ultimate source of power; Leza, Creator; Mulungu, the original source. Names such as Ruhanga, the Creator, fixer of everything, are used by the African people among other languages. Spirits are considered more like angels, and ancestor spirits, which are spirits of the deceased, provide guidance and protection. Evil spirits are considered to bring bad fortune, and priests or fetish priests are those who consult with these spirits in order to contact the spirit world. Prayers like libation and sacrifices are used by the African people in order to pray or to seek forgiveness, to seek for some form of blessing from the spirit world. And also, prayers like libation are used in ceremonies, such as naming ceremonies, in marriages, in death rites, and other ceremonies in African communities. This African religion permeated all forms of life on the African continent. Of Africans, this was the only way of dealing with faith, of dealing with belief. And festivals which form part of these traditions are to bring people together, where people have to dance, enjoy themselves, feast, meet each other, travel, meet other family members that they've lost contact with, celebrate harvest, celebrate the ascension of a king. Ethiopian Christianity developed from the 4th century CE when the ruler of Aksum, King Ezana, converted to a monotheistic variety of early Christianity with strong Jewish Christian tendencies. It became the state's special religion in the 5th century. It strongly developed its Judaic elements in medieval times when the Amharic Solomonic dynasty constructed its mythic charter in the Kebra Nagast, the glory of the kings. That document asserted that the Amharic rulers descended from Menelik, son of Queen Sheba, by King Solomon. That Menelik had later visited his father and had returned with the firstborn of the 12 tribes of Israel and with the Ark of the Covenant, and that the true Jews had been the very first to become Christians, having been converted by the Chamberlain of Queen Candace as mentioned in Acts 8:26-39. It was from these medieval times onwards that the rectangular Greek basilica standard in the first 6 centuries of Ethiopian Christian history began to be replaced by the round tripartite church plan, which became virtually universal in the Amharic highlands. These churches have the holiest with the Talmud, Ark, accessible only to the officiating priest. At their center, the Magda's sanctuary for celebrating Mass is around it. That again is surrounded by the Kene Mashele choir for the singers and lay persons. Cultic dances during Mass around the Talmud was a prominent liturgical feature. Monasticism strongly developed, as did asceticism. Monks, nuns, as well as the lay believers observed numerous days of fasting. Not only boys were circumcised, but female excision was also practiced. Animals were ritually slaughtered. Pork was considered unclean. Some scholars consider Ethiopian Christianity the most thoroughly Africanized of any church on the African continent, and the fullest example of the assimilation of the African culture by Christianity. The Ethiopian Church Organization states that they believe in one God, the Father Almighty, maker of heaven, earth, and all things visible and invisible. By him all things were made, and with him was not anything in heaven or earth made. They believe in Jesus Christ, his Son, their Lord, who for them and for their salvation came down from heaven and was made man and was incarnate from the Holy Spirit and from the Holy Virgin Mary. He became man, was crucified for their sakes in the days of Pontius Pilate, suffered, died, was buried, and rose from the dead. On the third day, as was written in the Holy Scriptures, ascended in glory into heaven. They believe in the Holy Spirit, the life-giving God, which proceeded from the Father and who spoke by the prophets. They worship and glorify him with the Father and the Son. They believe in one holy, universal, apostolic church, and they believe in one baptism for the remission of sins and ways for resurrection from the death and the life to come, world without end. Priests normally intervene and perform exorcisms on behalf of those believed to be afflicted by demons or Buddha. According to a 2010 study, 74% of Christians in Ethiopia report having experienced or witnessed an exorcism. Demon-possessed persons are brought to the church and prayer meeting. Often when an ill person has not responded to traditional medicine, the affliction is attributed to demons. The Orthodox Church Canon Bible contains 81 books, and this canon is also accepted by other Orthodox Christians. A narrower canon also includes Enoch, Jubilees, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd Maccabean. Some sources speak of a broader canon which has never been published as a single compilation, but is said to include all of the narrower canon, as well as the additional New Testament books said to have been used by the early church, 2 books of the Covenant, 4 books of Synodos, an epistle of Peter to Clement, also known as Ethiopic Clement, in the Ethiopic Didache.
Mariñana